Why it is important to nail these lies is because the truth is totally at 180 degrees from what Pakistan is saying. Pakistan was begging for mercy before 10 a.m. that morning. So अंधेरे में नहीं मारा, उजाले में भी मारा. The Indian Navy, one of its main submarines was as close as 60 miles off the Makran coast. The Indian Air Force had virtually downed all their radars and had made all the principal air bases non-operational. The N-word was not even mentioned within the national security planners when they were discussing it, or the armed forces chief or anybody. There was no attack on Kirana Hills per se. The attack was on Sargodha. The attack was basically first a BrahMos missile, then a scalp. This whole business, that the drones came in and, the drones were doing this, and hardly any Indian facility has been hit. The role that China played during Operation Sindoor is a matter of concern. Let me be very clear on that. And I'm quite surprised that Sharif did not himself promote himself to become the Khalifa of the Ottoman Empire.
Hello and welcome. You're watching the Hindustan Times and I'm Abhishek Singh. I want you to look at this picture. Pay attention to the crimson, the yellow. If you were an infantryman, an artilleryman or an AD man, you'd probably think it is a thing of beauty. And if this gun was under your command, you probably have a picture like this in your office for sure, and perhaps even at your home. And you look at it every day with pride. The crimson, the yellow fire, you're ready to breathe at the enemy to protect your country. Now look at this man, Asim Munir. This man will hang this picture at his home, atop a mantle perhaps, and look at it every day. So would the people who'd visit him. And for the rest of his life, this man will look at this lie and tell this lie as well. The lie presented to him to mark another lie. The lie that was Pakistan's victory, which led to another lie, Munir being made the field marshal for leading Pakistan to that victory. And this, viewer, is what is being fought now. The Pakistani lies. But why is it important to fight it? They know what we did, we know what we did, the world knows what we did. So why can't we just let it be? That is my first question to my senior colleague, Shishir Gupta, Executive Editor, Hindustan Times. Why do we need to fight these lies? I mean, we know what we did, Pakistan knows what we did, the world knows what we did. Why are we still answering the questions which Pakistan is throwing our way again and again? The last question being, of course, the Asim Munir being made the field marshal, second field marshal, because he won Pakistan apparently a great victory.
As Goebbels used to say that if you repeat a lie many a times, it becomes the truth. And that is why it is very important to nail the lies of Field Marshal Asim Munir. And I'm quite surprised that Sharif did not himself promote himself to become the Khalifa of the Ottoman Empire. So Pakistan has been living these lies since its inception. And why it is important to nail these lies is because the truth is totally at 180 degrees from what Pakistan is saying. Whether it is Operation Sindoor or the failed operation which the Pakistan had launched, that is Bunyan al-Marsus. Now, let me tell you what has happened. After India hit the terrorist camps, the 9 terrorist camps, on May 7th, Pakistan launched an operation which is Bunyan al-Marsus on May 10th at 1 a.m., right? The Indian response came in 4 phases. Now, former Pakistan Foreign Minister has been saying in his Oxfordian Urdu that कोई अंधेरे में भी मारता है. Fact is, the Indian Air Force using missiles hit them at 2:30 a.m. at Noor Khan, where the entire Northern Air Command network of Pakistan was destroyed. Second attack was at 4:30. Third attack was at 9:30. Fourth attack was at 12:30. I do not want to get into details. Fact of the matter is Pakistan was begging for mercy before 10 a.m. that morning. So अंधेरे में नहीं मारा, उजाले में भी मारा. So we served them before breakfast, we served them before lunch also.
I think he was not up. I mean, it was too early in the morning.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Second thing, the Western Air Command of the Indian Air Force destroyed 2 HQ-9 Chinese air defense system. One was in the general area of Sialkot. The other one was in the general area of Pasrur in the Western Command. They destroyed the other air defense system, LY-8T, which was in Lahore. A bunch of air defense networks were destroyed by the Southwestern Air Command also, using variety of missiles. You use Scalp, you use BrahMos, you use Crystal Maze, you used Rampage. Now, majority of our weapons have basically visual guidance. So I do not know whether Indian Air Force will ever come out with it. But in their own archives, they now have the launch, the direction and the destruction, all three catalogued with them. Right? So let me tell you, when the Pakistan DGMO first begged for mercy from US to intervene on its behalf with India for a ceasefire, and then the DGMO called after the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar told his US counterpart that he would like to hear this proposal from the DGMO to DGMO level, because that is the institutionalized line. Pakistan had virtually lost everything that day. Now let me expand that further also.
Sure.
The Indian Navy, one of its main submarines was as close as 60 miles off the Makran coast.
Yeah, you wrote about, by the way, in your last piece that we were ready to hit the Karachi port.
Yes, that is there. The Indian Air Force had virtually downed all their radars and had made all the principal air bases non-operational. If Pakistan had not sued for ceasefire that day, there would have been nothing left as far as the air bases go. Right? The attack, the S-400 brought down a SAB air early warning system. As this was the longest range hit by an S-400 incidentally, 315 kilometers inside Pakistan territory.
Right.
The Pakistanis hardly flew on that day. So the operational, whatever wall of lead as they called it, it folded within maybe 4 hours or 5 hours.
Yeah. A lot of information that you have shared in your article, sir, is of course source-based, and these are sources which both of course have the experience and are in the know of what might have happened. But having said that, some of the information which is very specific. So we have spoken about as far as the Air Force bases are concerned, what happened there. We have spoken about what the Indian Navy was prepared to do. We have also spoken about the fact that a lot of these attacks did not happen in the andhera, raat ka andhera, as was being said, but during daytime. But there is one more question which is regarding Kairana Hills, and the reason that question is being asked again and again is because, of course, apparently Pakistan had its nuclear storage facility there, and that was hit. What do we know about that? What are your sources? What are your sources telling you about Kairana Hills?
See, Abhishek, the Pakistanis would have the Western media and the Western world believe as if every skirmish with India will end up in a nuclear war. Let me be very clear on that. The N-word was not even mentioned within the national security planners when they were discussing it, or the armed forces chief or anybody. This was a creation to tell the world, listen, hey, I'm in trouble. Save me, otherwise there will be a nuclear war. Yeah. Nothing of the sort had happened. There was no attack on Kirana Hills per se.
Okay.
The attack was on Sargodha. The attack was basically first a BrahMos missile, then a scalp going in, and the scalp would have the full footage of where it landed. Now let me also say that very clearly to you. See, in Kirana Hills, it is not that it's not the weapon system is fully mated and kept over there. The warhead is kept separate. The delivery platform is kept separate.
Right.
When the National Command Authority meets and then they take a decision, only then the two are married.
Right.
And then they are used by the fighters.
Sure.
They're not like something like, firecrackers that they can just be lit off.
Of course.
So all this is just a figment of imagination, trying to create this whole hullabaloo about this nuclear war, which becomes a favorite of all the newspapers and everything, because it sounds very sexy. Then there was somebody who did that thing that, the Pakistanis used the Shaheen missile. Let me tell you, you cannot use a Shaheen missile, because once you designate a missile as a nuclear missile, you cannot put a conventional warhead on that. Because what will happen is that if you fire that missile on me, I will do the second strike. I will not even wait for it.
Yeah, wait for it to land.
So this is utter nonsense. Let me tell you, the N word was not even contemplated, mentioned or anything. Because we were far too dominant on the conventional deterrence part of it that we didn't need anything. I mean, the Pakistanis did not know what to do that day.
Okay.
And let me tell you, there are people within the national security planners who didn't even know what target to hit because everything else had been hit. I mean, you would hit 13 air bases, you would hit the air defense network, you would hit the surface to air missile network. I mean, what would you want to hit militarily? You'd hit the terrorist. I mean, India does not go for civilians.
And hitting the terrorist was already done.
Yes. So the point is, I mean, the guy was lying flat. So all you do is you create this whole, mumbo jumbo about, winning a war and becoming a field marshal and becoming and then Shehbaz Sharif going on a tour to favorite countries, China, Iran, Azerbaijan and Turkey. Right?
Okay.
So the point is this. Second thing, this whole business, that the drones came in and, the drones were doing this, and hardly any Indian facility has been hit. Hardly any. These drones were what? The Pakistanis had asked for 1,000 Yiha drones, kamikaze drones from Turkey.
Right.
They received 200. Our intelligence said 100 was given to Indian Pakistan Army, 100 was given to the Pakistani Air Force.
Okay.
They use those drones. Those drones are kamikaze drones, which means that they just go for a target, whichever target is there. Now, I know for a fact that many of them didn't even fire. They didn't even explode. They were all duds. Many of them. The others were shot down out of the sky. And second thing, in a congested airspace, in a airspace where the air defense batteries are on everything, the guns are on everything, and India had multiple layers of that.
Right.
You cannot use drones because the drones with their missiles having shorter ranges of 15 kilometers, they have to come inside the Indian territory to fire. They'll be shot down. So nothing happened. I mean, this whole, it looks very fantastic, lights in the sky and everything, and everybody thinks that something is coming down. No, it did not. I mean, that's why Pakistanis, I'm told, went around the world looking for satellite imagery of some damage to the Indian. When they didn't find it, they got themselves promoted.
Right. Right, got more pictures clicked. But there is another theory which is doing the round, and the reason I'm going back to Kirana Hills is because, of course, as you were also saying, this is what Pakistan has been talking about the most, and this has been out there, and people are interested because the N word got mentioned, right? So I was talking to recently an Austrian military expert, Tom Cooper, and he said it may or may not have been India's intention to specifically go after Pakistan's nuclear installations because India is a responsible country. It is unlikely to do that, unlikely that India did that. However, the reason it might have happened is because India and Pakistan have a treaty. They're supposed to exchange, information about where each other's civil and military nuclear infrastructure is, right? And just so we don't accidentally end up hitting, each other's civil and military nuclear infrastructure. Now, Pakistan had, according to him, Pakistan had failed to declare Sargodha and Kairana Hills as, these nuclear storage facilities. In other words, Pakistan was trying to, again, not follow the terms of the treaty which it signed with India. Now, the question is, was it Pakistan's, in this case, Pakistan just by, trying to be too cunning, too smart, without letting India know where its nuclear, element and, as you were mentioning, warheads were, is it because of that India might have hit that place without realizing that there could actually be a nuclear storage facility there? Because Pakistan, of course, failed to inform us.
Abhishek, India is a nuclear weapon state, declared nuclear weapon state, and so is Pakistan. Nuclear war is not a subject of speculation. Sargodha is the place where Pakistan houses its F-16s, which are nuclear capable. So I'd be a fool if I would understand that the nuclear capability would not be there. Jacobabad is the place where Pakistan houses its F-16s. These are the only delivery platforms it has to deliver nuclear. So to say that I did not know, I don't think so. And the point is, this whole business of, we do exchange military every year, every beginning of every year in January, we do exchange it and we still do it. And I'm sure Pakistan would have also declared it. Nuclear dimension is not kids' play. It's not a question of speculation or military sort of, analysis.
No, not nuclear war, sir.
No.
The fact that there was a storage facility and we might have accidentally hit it.
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. We knew what we were hitting.
Sure.
Listen, at Sargodha Air Base, we hit the cross section of runways right in the center. Right. So you think we did not know what was happening over there.
Okay.
In fact, in one place, the missile was changed at the last moment. The terminal guidance was changed to hit the right target. So we were fully in control of the situation. It's not like that, that somebody fired and that's forgot about it. The thing was homed in, targeted and hit hard. That's how it is.
Sure. All right. Now, we've spoken about, some of the major myths which Pakistan wants to become truth. As you were saying, Goebbels tried to do back during the days of Hitler in the Second World War. Now, let's come to another major player who was a participant directly, indirectly in this entire situation, and that was China. A recent report, of course, called Pakistan an ancillary of China. Your comments, what was China trying to do? And because on one hand, it wants us to talk, it wants India to do trade with it, etc. And on the other hand, it is supplying, weapons and, the kind of information which Pakistan needed to attack us during Operation Sindoor. What's China up to?
The role that China played during Operation Sindoor is a matter of concern. Let me be very clear on that. The point is that we know that China provided Pakistan with satellite imagery. China provided Pakistan with air tactics. China provided Pakistan with something which was very, very sensitive this time. Was that, you see, China when it exports weapons, it gives the export versions of the weapons. Like, so the PL-15 missile, air-to-air missile beyond visual range, export version would be 120 to 150 kilometers. But the Chinese version is 150 plus.
Right.
Similarly, the HQ-9 radar, which is the copy of S-300 system of Russia, they would have a certain range when in export version and a longer range in the Chinese version. My understanding is in both the cases, China supplied Pakistan with the Chinese version of the missiles, with the Chinese version of the missiles, which were longer range.
So there was misinformation at play already.
There was obviously strategic deception that we thought we were actually looking at an export version which was a shorter range, but actually it was a longer range. So there was an issue in that.
Right.
China has been doing a whole lot of activity, helping out Pakistan in submarines also. My understanding is 3 Pakistani submarines were in the Arabian Sea, right?
Okay.
And they had come out. But they were hardly a threat considering that our submarines, I'm told, more than 4 were near the Karachi harbour. Right. In fact, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is meeting the Indian force that was deployed towards the end of this month in Goa.
Okay.
So the Chinese hand, the Turkish hand in Operation Sindoor and the Pakistani Bunyan al-Marsus was definitely a big hand.
Right.
And they were helping out Pakistan with not only drones, satellite imagery, movement of troops, better weaponry. That's what they did. But the sum and substance was that it didn't work.
Right. Okay, my last question to you, sir. There are multiple delegations of members of parliaments which are going to various countries. Foreign minister is out there. He is giving interviews as well to foreign media. What do you think of India's outreach efforts after, of course, Operation Sindoor? At least the exchange of fire got concluded. As we know, Operation Sindoor is, of course, still in effect, is still there.
I'll take a step more than that. The External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar was traveling to Europe. He had gone to, if not mistaken, he had gone to Germany, he had gone to Netherlands, and he had gone to Denmark. Now, my understanding is that all the three players, particularly Germany, they were totally supportive of India's right to defend after the terror, after the massacre at Pahalgam. You see, everybody seems to forget that where it all started. It started with that massacre in Pahalgam by Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba group, right? So, all the three countries were supportive of our right to defend. They were all in that. Germany was very clear on that. Similarly, all the delegations, my understanding is the delegation which left, I think, late last night, US, and has now gone to, I think, Ghana, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. They were able to convince everybody that, the main point on all this is, which the External Affairs Minister actually amplified, was that zero tolerance to terror. We will not believe in any nuclear blackmail, and we will retaliate or respond to any terror attack. So these are the fundamental messages. I mean, here we are not looking for any sort of seizing territory through force or something like that. Here we are simply saying that we will respond to any terror attack that is originated against India from any country.
All right. On that note, as and when there are, of course, more things which come out, which come to light, we will do this again. But on that note, thank you so much for puncturing some of the myths which Pakistan has been trying to promote. And thank you, sir. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.